start by saying thank you all for joining us today. We are all here for the same reason, to save our healthcare system that's currently in a crisis. Je vais d'abord commencer par vous remercier d'être parmi nous aujourd'hui. Nous sommes tous ici pour la même raison, pour sauver notre système de santé qui est actuellement en crise. We all know that our healthcare system is in a crisis, that hospitals are temporarily closing emergency department. Waiting times are becoming unacceptable. There are less and less paramedics on the roads. That's happening in emergency room. But what some of you may not know, nurses are working 16 plus hours and being mandated to stay longer with no breaks. Only having one fully staffed ambulance for the greater Moncton area, or having to get paramedics from St. John's, Sussex and further to come fill out shifts. More staff leaving than they have been recruiting. We can't get those numbers. The government paying $100 and more for traveling nurses instead of paying our own staff those wages. So basically, I'm just gonna wait now. From my understanding, some people came forward yesterday stating that between Moncton, DF, and Riverview, one ambulance was available for the entire area. That's concerning because we had so many events this weekend, which is the Pride Parade, the concert, and a lot of emergency departments shutting down, rerouting people. We can't go ahead further anymore with this healthcare crisis without having to put out there what is really in take right now. Government is hiding a lot. Italian Horizon, I feel you. I understand the frustration that is happening in your hospitals when it comes to staffing, breaks not being met, staff crying every shift where they always have 24 hours or more at some points that they are forced to do. This is becoming a safety issue in hospitals for the staff as for citizens. We need to look, like you mentioned earlier, retention. We are talking about recruiting, but what about the people that we have now that are actually having the tools that we need for primary care in our position? We need to take care of them as by not doing that, they are walking away. We are having more people quitting than people coming in, and that's not mentioned. It's nice to say, we recruited 100 and some nurses here, or whatever the case may be. That's just a number I'm just putting out there. But you don't hear about the ones that are actually on the verge of leaving, discussion of they're going elsewhere, because they're looking for where is best for their practice when it comes to having the tools necessary in the hospitals. And I'm not just talking for privatization example, our elderlies. We need to think our elders, a lot of them don't have insurance. And that is a known fact. Privatization is not going to benefit. Yes, it might benefit a few percentage of the population, and some are going to be for it, some are not going to be for it. But we need to look at the big picture as the actual population, what we actually need. We cannot no longer accept divide. Can't be if anything, the pandemic has teach us division. We had so much of that, and it's sad to see. But we can't get that with healthcare system. If we start dividing people, what's going to come next? We need to stand for our system that we currently have and put the tools where we need to improve it, and not try to throw it out the door. Basically, we need to be as one and treat each other as one. Not, oh well, you have a cold, I'm sorry, you need to go elsewhere. We get that. There's a lot of people that are not taking it seriously when it comes to emergency ER. Only go there if it's necessary, if it's an emergency. A lot of people are still going when they have a cold or flu. I get it, it's scary. We're calling our doctors. I'll be one to vouch. I've been calling my family doctor. I'm lucky to get in sometimes. I could call 100 times a day. You're lucky if you can get someone to answer the line. it's become a problem everywhere. And yes, it's Canada-wide, but we need to speak for our province, and we need to save our healthcare system for the entire province. And if we don't act now, what's next? And what I have to say, Mr. Premier, please listen to the public. The public has been speaking. The healthcare workers have been speaking anonymously because they're not allowed to say anything or they're being fired. And that's a known fact and is constantly being reported every week. If you say something, your job is out the door. We cannot allow that. I understand there's policies in every businesses out there, but when it comes to healthcare, for our health, every individual should be treated exact equality, and they're the one that knows what's going on in the hospital. They're the one that see it day to day, hours to hours, and they're the one that actually treat us. So we need to be fair to everybody and let them speak. If they can come anonymously, do it. These things that happens in hospital, even clinics, not just hospital, needs to come forward and say what the issues are being reported between you co-workers, and it needs to come out. So I ask, Mr. Premier, when you say you want them to come forward and speak to you about solutions, listen and do not criticize or judge, because this is important and we cannot let this happen any further. Again, I want to thank you all for coming, and I'm hoping that this message will go further than just here today, and they will listen to what we have to say. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. Julie Legier.